Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step of how you can get a flawless base with your foundation routine. So if you want to know that, then please continue watching. I always say this to everyone who asks me about makeup. Makeup will only look good if you do proper skincare. If you don't do enough skincare, if you don't take time out of your day to do your skincare routine, then no matter what brand of foundation you use or how much of foundation you apply, it will get cakey and it will not look good. Your skincare is absolutely important and I can't stress enough on it. So last night I scrubbed my face. I used the Innisfree Jeju Volcanic Pore Scrub. You can use any face scrub that you have, or if you are into chemical exfoliation, you can do that as well. This is not for every day, but whenever you want to get that flawless looking base, you have to do some sort of skin prep the previous day or just before you start your makeup. Now before I go on with my makeup, I'm going to be using a face mask because lately I have been having some rough patches and some dry patches over these areas. So if I want my foundation to apply smoothly, then I need my canvas to be really clean. So there are three things that you have to keep in mind when you have to go for a flawless base. One is to have a clean surface. The next thing is to use product little by little, and the third and the most important thing is blending. So we'll see all of these things in today's video. So for masking today, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Pure Clay Mask Detoxify. This just pulls out all the dirt and gunk out of your skin and leaves my skin feeling super fresh and clean. This is how I look with the face mask on. I'm going to let it sit for 10-15 minutes, wash it off and be right back. My face mask is off and my skin just feels super soft and super clean, and with that we come to the end of the first part of how to get a flawless base. The first thing is to have a clean skin, and now we have achieved that. So let's move on to the second part of how to get a flawless base, that is to build products little by little in thin layers. So again, this consists of skincare part and makeup part. Let's move on to the skincare part first. For starting, I'm going to take the Garnier moisturizer and apply it all over my face, because the first step to skincare before makeup is to moisturize your face very well. I'm taking a dollop of amount of the moisturizer and I'm just going to warm it up between my fingers and make sure that I massage it very well into my skin, because only when your skin is moisturized and hydrated, the next product will sit beautifully and the next product will sit beautifully, and hence your foundation will sit beautifully on your skin. A quick tip: if you have dry skin, you can top your moisturizer with a face oil. The one I currently have is Fasali, so you can use any facial oil above your moisturizer. But since I have combination skin, I'm going to skip a facial oil and directly move on with the next product, which is the Fasali Liquid Glass, which is not a primer necessarily, but it acts like a primer because of its consistency. It has a very serum-like but slightly thicker consistency. It's difficult to explain the liquid glass consistency, but that is going all over my face, and then I'll be topping it off with a different primer, which you'll see in a while. To use a pore filling primer, I'm going to choose one between the Maybelline Baby Skin and the Inglot Gel Primer. Of course, I'm going to be using only one of these. So I'm going to use the Inglot Gel Primer today to focus on areas where I have open pores and slight texture issues. I'm going to be taking only a little bit because I'm not going to apply this all over my face. So this is going in areas where I have slight texture and pore issue, like I said earlier. So that is going to be around my nose and inner cheek area. That is where most of us have open pores and texture. The reason why I'm applying an additional primer for this pore filling issue is because when you have open pores or when you have texture on your skin, your foundation will go and settle into that and will not give a very smooth finish. That's why I'm using another primer for my face. Once my primer is set, I'm moving on to the foundation, which I think all of you are waiting for. I'm going to take the Milani foundation. Take just one pump of the foundation because for this foundation, just one pump is more than enough to cover your face. So I'm going to be taking that and just dotting it on my face little. We know, right? We are working on thin layers. So I'm just going to apply that much, but I'm going to be covering my entire face with just dots of foundation, and then we'll move on to the blending part. But just make sure you don't apply a lot in the same area. Just spread the foundation all over your face so that it will be easy to blend when we go into blending the foundation. My favorite way of applying a foundation is a beauty blender. It shouldn't be dripping wet, but it should be slightly damp because that will give a very fine finish to your foundation. That will ensure that your foundation looks flawless, because if the sponge is dripping wet, it's going to move and take away all the foundation from your skin. And if it is completely dry, you will not be able to blend it. So can you see how easily I'm able to blend the foundation into my skin? So the key, now we have come to the third step or the third part of how to get a flawless base. You have to keep blending the foundation to a point where, until the point where your hand starts to ache. When your hand starts to ache, that is when you can understand that your foundation is blended completely. If you don't blend it properly, you shouldn't be dragging the foundation down. See, I'm just buffing it on my skin and not pulling or dragging it down, because when you do those things, it will only make the foundation look cakey. But when you buff it and bounce it on your skin, it's going to make sure that the foundation is evenly layered, and it will give a very, very flawless finish to your skin. Now that I've finished applying one layer of the foundation, I'm just going to pick up some more and focus it on areas where I need that extra coverage. So those are the areas where there's still some spots peeking through the foundation. So I'm just going to make sure to blend it a little more on those areas so that I do get the coverage from the foundation, but it will look seamless because of the blending. So again, I'm going to continuously blend, blend, blend. Blending is the key to flawless makeup. Next, I'm taking my LA Girl concealer and applying it only on the inner corner. I don't have dark circles, but just to conceal the darkness, that slight darkness going on, I'm just going to take my concealer and focus it on that area alone. I'm not going to be applying it anywhere else because the foundation has done a decent job of covering the other parts of my face. As you see, I'm concentrating the concealer only on the inner corner of my eyes, and I'm just going to blend it out with a brush first, because applying concealer with a brush gives a fuller coverage. You can do that for your foundation as well. I just don't like the idea of applying foundation with a brush, but if you want a full coverage, then you can apply it with a brush. So coming back to the concealer, I'm just going to take my pack 272 concealer brush and apply it and just blend it uh, across my eyes. And then I will use my beauty blender to remove any excess product, because a damp beauty blender not only blends the product in place but also picks up any extra product that is on your skin's layer. So as you see, I am just focusing only on the part where I need the concealer to hide my dark circles, and I'm not bringing it down to my face. Taking my beauty blender and taking the pointy side of it, I'm just going to make sure that the concealer is finely blended, and I'm just going to make sure that there's no creases formed because of the brush. Sometimes a brush can leave some brush marks, but this brush is really good for concealer, and I'm just going to make sure that there's no fine lines or creases because of the concealer. And again, I'm just going to blend. For the next step, I'm going to be taking a loose powder. I couldn't find my Maybelline loose powder, so I'm taking the Becca Hydra Mist. You can take any loose powder, and I'm going to take some on the back of the cap, and again take it with my beauty blender. There are two things here. Why are we using a loose powder, and why are we using a beauty blender? We'll come to that, but before that, I'm just going to set my concealer in place just with a empty beauty blender without taking the powder, because if there are any creases formed because of the concealer, it is better to first set it just like that, and then use a powder to set the concealer in place. Because when you have some creases, if you apply your powder, that's not going to be a beautiful look. So now I'm just going to dunk the beauty blender onto the cap and then just apply it. So let's answer the two questions that we asked earlier. Why are we using a beauty blender to apply a loose powder and not a brush? So when you apply it with a beauty blender, it will give you that kind of a very airbrushed finish rather than just powder being in one area. And the reason why we are using a loose powder and not a compact powder is because a compact powder will add on extra coverage, but a loose powder will set your foundation and concealer in place without giving extra coverage or extra, it is not another layer of foundation, because compact is generally powder form of your foundation, which will give you additional coverage. So this will not give you additional coverage but still set your base in place. The next step is one of my favorite steps to do, which is setting your base with a makeup setting spray. Generally, we apply makeup setting spray after we complete the entire makeup, but this is something I learned from Kaushal. After doing your base makeup, when you set it with a makeup setting spray, your foundation, concealer, and powder will not move. And if you happen to have any excess powder on your face, the setting spray will just take everything. And I'm just going to take my beauty blender and slightly pat the makeup setting spray onto my face. You can let it air dry naturally, but I like this application of just patting my beauty blender on the face which is set with a makeup setting spray. With that, we come to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I will see you again in another video. Before you leave, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell notification so that you'll be the first one to watch when I upload my next video. Take care. Bye.